Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's hearing. We're going to begin by reading some more statements into the record, and then we shall hear evidence from more people who were in the tower at the time of the fire. Yes, Mr. Rowett.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, you'll remember from last Thursday's hearing that you heard evidence from Mr. Sena Majid,
Yes.
who gave evidence on the afternoon. I didn't have time to read in the statement of his wife, Hanife Majid, at that time, and I would like to do that now.
Yes, thank you.
The statement references IWS 50904. And if we go, please, to page 15 in that statement. We see, Mr. Chairman, that on this page,
Yes.
the statement carries a statement of truth. It is signed and dated the 7th of June 2018. And below, there's also a translator's declaration signed and dated on the same day.
Yes, thank you.
The statement has accompanying it a number of exhibits, which are, I think, HM1 to HM3 respectively, and to put them into the record, the inquiry reference for those is ISW 50685-126. Mr. Chairman, as you'll remember, Mr. Massett told you that he and his family had been living in Grenfell Tower since 1992, but on the night of the fire itself, it was just he and his wife who were at home in their flat. Mrs. Massett has given a detailed account of the events of that night, which includes some important information. Right. And if I may, I'd like to just read into the record an extract from the statement. As we have been making clear with all the statements that we're putting into the record as we go along, this is a statement which is admitted in its entirety.
Yes, thank you.
And stands in its entirety as evidence before the inquiry. But there is some important information that I'd like to read out. If I could go, therefore, to page 7 of the statement and paragraph 43. If I begin there, and this is the events of 13th of June and 14th of June 2017. I was in the living room with Sena from around 23:45 to around 1 o'clock. I was sitting on the sofa wearing my pyjamas. I was on the phone to my sister Aisel. She told me that there were fire engines going towards Grenfell Tower. Aisel told me that she thought there must be a fire in our building. I ended the call with Aisel so I could have a look out of the window. Sena was in the living room with me and he was watching television. I told Sena what Aisel had just told me. I got up from the sofa and I walked over to the windows of the living room and opened the window so I could look down. You have to open the window inwards, as it does not open outwards. I looked down to the ground and I could see fire engines at the bottom of the tower. The fire brigade were taking out fire hoses. They were underneath the walkway of Grenfell Tower. I couldn't see fire or smoke. I couldn't hear any fire alarms. Sena looked out of the window as well. I was panicking already, but my husband told me not to worry. He told me that this had happened before and there was nothing to worry about. I spoke to Aisel again on the phone and I told her that I didn't know what was happening. I carried on speaking with Aisel. Can't remember exactly what we were talking about. I can't remember what time I ended the call with Aisel. I opened the front door to our flat and I could smell something burning. It wasn't a strong smell. I walked to the door of the stairwell and when I opened the door I could smell the burning smell and it was stronger on the stairwell. I looked down the stairwell and I saw a resident from the 14th floor. She asked me if I could smell fire and I said yes. She was saying that she had children and they were asleep and she needed to get them. There was no smoke on the stairwell at this time that I could see. I came back inside the flat and walked into the living room where Sena was watching television and I opened the windows again. He told me again that nothing was going to happen, and if there was a fire, the firefighters would put it out. I looked out the open window and I could see smoke, and I could smell the smoke outside. I could see people at the bottom of the tower. They had their phones out and it looked like they were filming the tower. I couldn't see any flames. I started panicking again. Senna told me that he'd received a message from Abdullah, who's my brother-in-law. Abdullah had sent Senna a photograph of the tower on fire. You could see that there was a large fire. I don't know which side of the tower this was on. Abdullah called Senna on his phone. Senna told me that Abdullah was telling us to get out. My sister Aysel phoned me again and told me to get out the tower as it was on fire. Senna and I opened the front door of our flat to see what was happening, and we stood outside of our flat with the door open. Some of our neighbours were running down the corridor towards the stairwell. I don't know the names of these neighbours or the number of the flat they lived in. I believe they lived next door to Sheila. They didn't say anything to us, they just ran towards the stairwell. I could not hear a fire alarm in the corridor or on the stairwell. I expected that if there was a fire, the alarms would have gone off. I could now see smoke on the corridor for the first time. The smoke was quite thin. It was coming from the doors to the stairwell. Senna and I went back into the flat and we closed the front door. I saw smoke coming underneath the front door of the flat. This was at around 1:30. I started to fill up cups of water and I threw the water on the doors to make them wet. I was thinking to myself, who's going to clean all of this up as I did this? I closed the doors inside the flat to try and stop the smoke from coming into the different rooms. I put wet cloths underneath the front door to stop the smoke coming through, but this didn't stop the smoke coming in. The fire alarm in our flat was now going off in our flat. I could only hear our alarm. I got changed out of my pajamas and into my clothes so I could leave the building. Senna did the same. I picked up my handbag and Senna took our passports and his phone. I had my phone in my bag. We opened the front door of our flat. The corridor was now full of thick black smoke. It was difficult to see. I believe that we had only been 5 minutes or so from when we had last opened the front door. The corridor had filled up with thick black smoke in this time. It was difficult to breathe and it made my eyes sting. I could not see the doors that led to the stairwell because of the smoke. I felt frightened and Senna shut the door. We were both shocked and were panicking. Senna took his phone out and dialed 999. He spoke with an operator in English. He said that the fire brigade were dealing with the fire and that they were on their way to us. Smoke kept on coming into the flat and it was making it difficult to breathe. We went into the living room to get as far away as we could from the front door where the smoke was coming through. I wet 2 flannels in the bathroom using the tap water, and I gave one to Senna. We covered our mouths with the flannel to help us breathe. My family were calling me on my phone. I told them that the emergency services told us to wait in the flat to be rescued. I told them about the smoke in the corridor and the smoke coming into our flat. My family was outside watching the tower burn. They were on the phone to me, begging me to leave the tower, but I said we couldn't get out. I spoke with my sisters on the phone. They told me that the fire was on the other side of the building to where our flat was and that it was spreading. They were begging me to leave the tower. I told them that we were trapped inside the building. I was scared I was going to die. I kept looking out from the window to see if I could see any fire. I could only see a lot of smoke at this time. My daughter Merve was standing outside and she was close to the tower. She was speaking with police officers and the emergency services. She told me that the police had said that the fire brigade would get to us. She was told that the firefighters were on the 13th floor of the building and they were making their way up the tower. I was telling Merve to tell them to hurry up and that we needed oxygen masks to get out the flat. We couldn't breathe. I was telling Merve about the smoke in the flat. Merve told me that the emergency services were telling us to stay put in the flat and wait for the firemen to get to us. Senna put more wet towels underneath the door to try and stop smoke coming from underneath. Senna and I tried to leave the flat for the second time. We closed the flat door behind us, which locked it. Senna had the keys to the front door. We both walked slowly towards where the stairwell was. I couldn't see the stairwell because of the smoke which stung my eyes. We reached the stairwell and Senna pushed the door to the stairwell open. The stairwell was full of more hot, thick, black smoke. I couldn't believe the smoke. It was so hard to breathe. We decided we couldn't go down the stairs because it was too dangerous. I thought I would die if I tried to leave. We slowly walked back to our flat door. I couldn't see our door until we got close to it. Senna had the keys to the door and he was trying to open the door, but he couldn't see the keyhole. I was shouting at him to hurry up. I was scared of being on the stairwell and I couldn't breathe. He eventually managed to open the door and we quickly walked back into our flat. The flat was full of smoke. We walked back into the living room, which was furthest away from the front door. There was thick smoke in the flat. We couldn't open the windows in the living room because there was smoke outside the windows. Senna told me to lie on the floor of the flat so we could breathe better. We both lay down on the floor in the living room. I was crying. I spoke to family members on the phone again who were outside watching. I looked outside the living room towards where the entrance to the tower was. I could see flames on the outside of the building, on the left of the window. I started panicking. I watched the flames gradually spreading towards the flat. I could hear a helicopter in the sky hovering above the tower, which I now know was taking photographs of the fire and was not there to save us. I spoke to my sister on the phone. She said that she could see the flames by our flat. She could see the flat burning. She shouted at me to get out, but we couldn't. Merve at some point called me and told me that the emergency services were saying that we needed to get out of the flat on our own. She said, "They can't do anything and you're going to have to make a run for it." I was asking her what she meant by no one was coming to get us. I couldn't believe that no one was coming to get us. I spoke with my son Emre. He told me to come to the window and open the window so he could see me one last time. I told them I loved them and told them goodbye. They were crying as well. I began praying out loud. I thought that this was the end. I asked for my brothers and my mother to look after my children after I died. Senna was on the phone to 999. When he ended the call, he told me that they said no one was coming to rescue us. He said that we had to leave the flat for good and we would not be coming back. I was in a state of shock. I couldn't believe what he was saying. I could hear explosion noises coming from other people's flats. The windows of the living room then shattered and the flames came through the window. The flames set the windows and the walls and the curtains on fire. There were flames all around. I started screaming for help. I could hear other people screaming and shouting for help too. I don't know where these voices were coming from within the building. The flames were a yellow and orange color, and the smoke around it was thick and black. We ran into the bathroom, and Senna poured 3 buckets of water he'd filled up from the tap over my head, and then he did the same to him. I took my handbag and a wet flannel and we left the flat. Before we opened the front door, I remember feeling the heat coming through the door. The corridor was full of thick, hot smoke, and I couldn't see in front of me. It was pitch black. Senna led the way to the doors of the stairwell. We walked slowly across to them, holding out our hands. We got to the doors, and Senna pushed the door open. The smoke on the stairwell was hot and thick. I felt I couldn't breathe. I was not able to describe how the smoke tasted, but all I can say is that it was difficult to breathe because of how thick the smoke was. I held onto the railings of the stairwell. Senna was walking in front of me. I don't remember anyone else walking down the stairs when we were, but you couldn't see anything, so it's possible that there were people also walking down. It was difficult to walk down the stairs because you couldn't see the steps. I was counting the number of steps, so I knew when we got to each floor. Senna kept telling me to come on and told me to keep following him. And if I just move on to paragraph 80 on the next page. Paragraph 80 reads as follows. When we got to the lower floors, the smoke became less thick. It was hot and I couldn't breathe and I was finding it hard to walk. This was partly because of the smoke, but also because I have a bad knee. And Mr. Chairman, that's all I propose to read from that statement.
Right. Thank you very much.
What I propose to do now is to hand over to Ms. Sivakumaran, who will call the next witness.
Right, thank you. Well, before you do, I should record our gratitude to Mrs. Majid for taking the trouble to make that statement, which is obviously very important, and it will form part of the evidence before the inquiry.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Sivakumaran.
I'd like to call our first witness of the day, Ms. Rashida Ali.
Right, thank you very much. you're going to get a message.
Mr. Chairman, if we may ask actually for you
Does
to rise for a few minutes.
needs a little bit of time, does she?
Yes, she does.
Yes, well, that's perfectly right. I'll rise for 5 minutes unless you tell me you need longer.
Are we grateful?
All right. Thank you very much. Right, well, I think the witness is ready now, so we'll just ask her to come in.
I swear by Allah
I swear by Allah
that the evidence I shall give
that the evidence I shall give
shall be the truth,
shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
That's lovely, thanks.
Very good. Thank you very much. You'd like to sit down and make yourself comfortable? All right. Yes, Ms. Sivakumaran.
Now, Miss Ali, can you begin by confirming your full name for the inquiry, please?
Yeah, my name is Rashida Ali.
Can I begin by thanking you for coming to the inquiry today? We're very grateful for the help that you're providing to us. Firstly, we appreciate that it's going to be very difficult to relive the events of the night, and it's important that you take your time. If you need a break at any time, please let us know and we will have a pause. Thirdly, my questions will be short and hopefully simple, but if you don't understand any of my questions, please say so, and I will ask them in a different way. Now, finally, we need to put your statement into the record. Now, you will see in front of you that there is a bundle, and we will also be showing it in the screen in front of you as well. Now, if we can turn to IWS 703, page 1. This is the first page of the statement that you have given to the inquiry. So you can see that in the monitor in front of you, and it's also at tab 1 of the bundle that's placed on that table. If we can turn to the last page of your statement, that's page 12. There is a statement of truth that's dated the 2nd of March 2018. Can you confirm that is your signature?
Yes, it is.
And have you had an opportunity to read your statement recently?
Yes.
Now, I understand there's 2 corrections that you wish to make to your statement.
Yeah.
Turning to firstly to page 8, paragraph 49 of your statement. Now, you describe, in this paragraph, you describe looking into the communal lobby from your flat. At this point, you can hear the air vents next to your flat were open and whirling, bringing air in on the landing. You would like to correct this so that you say you could hear the air whirling in the vents, but you do not recall air being brought into the landing itself.
Yes.
That's correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Now, the second matter is at page 9 of your statement. So that's the next page, at paragraph 55 and 56. Now, in these 2 paragraphs, you've set out what you did immediately after you first left the tower. You said that you left your daughter with your neighbour Aziza, and they went back to the tower where you met 2 ladies, a mother and a daughter, when they were going to the lifts.
Yes.
Since making this statement, you have had the opportunity to review the CCTV footage, is that right?
Yes.
After watching the CCTV, you would like to clarify the order of events as described in these 2 paragraphs.
Yeah.
Now, I'm shortly going to show you some CCTV stills, and we will clarify the order of those events in detail. For now, we can note for the record that there's a clarification to be made. Now, subject to these 2 corrections that we've gone through, are the contents of your statement true?
Yes.
I'd be grateful if that statement's admitted into the record.
Yes, of course.
I would also put into the record the exhibits to the statement. Now, you'll find those at the back of tab 1. And the first one is RA1, which is IWS 3, page 13. This is an image of the tower. RA2 is IWS 3, page 14, a floor plan of floor 15. Exhibit RA3, IWS 3, page 15, is a plan showing the pipes in the communal lobby. Exhibit RA4, which is IWS 3, page 16, a plan of flat 125. Exhibit RA5, which is reference IWS 3, page 17, which is a reconstruction plan of the hose pipe in the stairwell. And exhibit RA6, which is IWS 3, page 18, which is a reconstruction of Grenfell Tower's front door. Those you'll find at the first tab of the bundle in front of you.
Yes.
Now, if those 6 exhibits could be admitted into the record as well.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Okay, well. Now, Miss Ali, I'm just going to begin with some background about yourself and your time in the tower. Is it correct you lived in flat 125, which was on floor 15 of Grenfell Tower?
Yes.
And you'd lived there since 2014?
Yes.
And who did you live with in your flat?
The beginning, it was me and my daughter, and my husband after.
And by June 2017, who was living in the flat?
Me, my daughter, and my husband.
And your husband as well?
Yeah.
And did you rent the flat?
No, it was a council.
The council?
Council flat, yeah.
And turning to your mobility in June 2017, how was your mobility at that time?
It was bad. Yeah.
It was bad?
Yeah. I had a few. I had an injury, and I just had my heart operation just a few months before the fire. 4 months before the fire.
And we can see that today you're relying on a walking stick to assist you. Is that right? In June 2017, did you also use any assistance?
No, not that. Yeah.
And did you have any aids to help you in walking?
Yeah,
What aids did you use?
the same, the walker, but I didn't use it that night.
No.
Yeah,
Well, you managed without it, did you?
yeah,
Yeah, well done.
yeah.
And if we can turn to your statement at page 6, this is IWS 3, page 6, paragraph 38. Now, you told us that your mobility was bad. In your statement, you've said that you always used the lifts. Were you able to use the stairs as well?
No, that was the first time I used it was the first time I used the stairs.
When was the first time that you used the stairs?
That night. Yeah.
Now, okay, and when you went to, when were the council aware that you had problems with your mobility?
Yeah.
And you hadn't tried to use the stairs before that night?
It was emergency when I moved to the building, and the lift was blocked because they was fitting and fixing the area, and then a few people came from the TMO and the builders. They was helping the neighbors to go up to their flat, and that was one time I went with them and they helped me to go to my flat.
Do you remember when this was?
That was like just a few weeks after I moved to Grenfell. Yeah, it was when they was changing the building and they was building. Things was going on.
So to clarify, you only used the stairs once a few weeks after you first moved in?
Yes, and because the lift wasn't working for a few days, then I had to go up because I had an appointment that day, and I went and I came back and I saw them. I saw people unhappy. Everyone was waiting for get help to go up, and there was a few disabled people too. It was like older people, and people was coming to help us to go upstairs, hold our hands to go up. Yeah.
Now, you refer to people helping you up the stairs. Who were these people that helped you?
People who was working in the area in that time, who was like from the TMO, and maybe the company was building there. I don't know exactly who they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you
Yeah.
say working there at the time, what
Yeah.
do you mean by working?
Because the building was in a bad state. There was like putting the frame, and the ground floor was it was locked. We had to go through another way, coming through the station up to the building, and that was the only area we had the access to the building, and the lift was blocked. That was the only time I had to use the stairs.
Okay, and how did they help you up the stairs?
They held my hand and I walked with them slowly all the way to the 15th floor.
Would you have been able to manage the stairs without any assistance?
That time it was very difficult. It was before my heart operation, and it was very difficult to take steps and breathing at the same time. Yeah.
Right now, Ms. Ali, you mentioned at the time that there was work being done to Grenfell Tower, and it's known that there was a process of refurbishment going on.
Yeah.
During that refurbishment, the windows in your flat were replaced, is that right?
Yes.
Now, turning to page 4 of your statement, this is paragraph 27.
Yeah.
You've said that the windows looked clean and nice, but there were always drafts coming through the new windows. It was a constant problem. I did complain, and someone who was working with the TMO came round, but nothing was done. When did you notice the drafts around the windows?
Soon I moved to the building, to the flat. I noticed there's a draft, there's some airs coming through, but it was getting worse because the winter was coming, and then it was like getting colder, and you feel the breeze sometimes in some places, and if there's a wind, you can hear the wind coming through.
Okay, just to break that down, you said that as soon as you moved into Grenfell Tower, you noticed that.
Yeah.
Had the windows been replaced at that point?
From inside, it was fully replaced, the windows, yeah.
Okay, and when you felt the draft, you said you could notice it in a particular place.
Yeah.
Now, before going to where you noticed them, if we could have Exhibit RA4, which is IWS 316. Now, this is a floor plan of your flat, flat 125, is that correct?
Yes.
And it's an accurate representation of your flat as in June 2017,
Yeah.
is that right?
Yeah.
Now, before turning to where around the windows, you mentioned those drafts. Could you feel a draft around all the windows or some of them?
All the windows.
All the windows?
Yes.
And were there some windows which you felt the draft more than others?
The living room, because it was bigger, and there was 4 windows in the living room, and imagine all of them was bringing the draft in, and in my bedroom we used to feel it more.
Now, do you want to just, I've seen that you're pointing at the screen. If you want to point at the large screen up there, the one that we, it's just so the room can see as well.
That's the living room.
Would you like to stand up and point it out to us?
Okay.
You all right?
Yeah. This is the living room, and this was my bedroom.
Right.
This is my daughter, and that's the kitchen windows. Here in this living room, because we were staying most of the time, and because the wind was coming from 2 sides, I used to feel the draft more on the living room. And the nighttime in my bedroom, the same thing. It was, more draft coming in.
Okay, if we can confirm for the record, you're pointing to your bedroom as the bedroom on the far end of the flat.
Yeah.
The middle room you've said is your daughter's room,
Yeah.
is that correct? And then the lounge is the room next to that.
Yeah.
And did you feel the draft from all 4 windows?
Yes, 4 of them.
And looking at that plan, did you notice the draft coming from any particular side around the window?
Yes, I felt like they used to come from the sides, the side of the windows. And under, there was a plastic board, there was a plastic they fit to decorate all the area where's the window. The air was coming through there, you can feel it, and you can feel them from the side of the windows too.
Right. So to confirm for the record, the witness is referring to the sides of the window and the bottom windowsill.
Right.
Is that right? Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. Yes, sit down again.
Now, Ms. Ali, you said that you complained to somebody from the TMO. Is that right?
Yes.
Do you remember who you complained to?
No, when I have any complaint, I used to go to the office under the building where the TMO was based, under the building, and do my complaint, and then take it, and then they send someone, and I showed them. Someone came, and I showed them what I was talking about, and then.
Do you remember if the person who came was a man or a woman?
It was a man.
And when you showed them the drafts, did they do anything about it?
No, not really. No one came to do anything.
Right. And as of June 2017, could you still feel the drafts at the windows?
Yes.
Right. Now, on the next page, at page 5 of your statement, paragraph 31, you've also referred to your front door in your statement. Now, you said that your front door was never changed at any point after I moved in. The door was very light and not very solid. It would have been easy to break in. As far as I'm aware, my neighbours had the same type of door. My front door had 3 hinges. The door didn't close properly. And the lock was difficult. You had to jiggle the door around a bit. There were gaps between the door and the frame, and when there was wind, there was a draft, and it made a rattling noise. The door had a letterbox which was shut after it was used. Now, you've referred to gaps around the door. Where exactly did you notice those gaps?
On the frame, around the frame of the door. The back side and the front. Like when you shut the door, you can see the corridor light coming through, and it was a gap there.
Okay, can I confirm for the record you're referring to the sides, the left and right side of the door within the frame?
Left.
On the left side
Yeah.
only?
Yeah.
And was that where the door opened out, or the side
Yeah.
with the hinges?
Where's the door open?
Where the door opened. Okay, so there's a noticeable gap on the side of the door that
All
it
the
opened
way.
from.
Yeah, all the way. You know, like through all the left side.
From the top to the
Yeah.
bottom of the door.
Yeah.
And could you notice any gaps at the top edge or bottom of the door?
I don't really remember.
Right. You've also described in this paragraph that you had problems closing the door and the lock was difficult.
Yeah.
Can you explain further what you mean by having those problems closing the door?
Like when you close the door, it wasn't easily, locked. I had to keep, push it up or down until it got to the lock position. And when you're opening the same, you had to struggle to open it.
Right. And if you open the door after having opened it,
Yeah.
would you have to close the door yourself, or would it automatically close?
No, I had to close it by myself. Yeah.
Okay, so you had to physically pull it closed.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I just want to ask you some further questions about your awareness of fire safety measures in Grenfell Tower.
Yeah.
Turning to page 6 of your statement, and this is paragraph 29. Sorry, page 5 of your statement, paragraph 29. You've referred here, in my police statement, I refer to fire alarms in the flat. By this I mean smoke alarms. You say there were 2 alarms in my flat, one in the corridor by the entrance and one in the kitchen. As far as I know, they worked. On the Saturday before the fire, someone came and checked the alarm next to the door, but not the one in the kitchen. The man who came said they were working, but no alarms went off on the day of the fire. There were no heat alarms in the kitchen of the flat. There was the carbon monoxide alarm in the kitchen. I think that the TMO fitted this. It was there when I moved in. Right, so you describe having 2 smoke alarms within the flat. The 2 alarms, were they smoke alarms, rather?
Yes.
And this is the one in the corridor, in the entrance, and one in the kitchen.
Yeah.
When you say that they were working in June 2017, how do you know that they were working?
Because when, like in the kitchen, if we do toast, we burn the toast, or we use the oven and start to smoke, then the alarm used to go on. Yeah, that's why I know.
Would that be the alarm in the kitchen only, or the one in the hallway as well?
I think both, yeah.
Both
They
alarms went
works,
off?
Yeah.
You've also described here a visit from a man who came and said they were working.
Yeah, it was the Saturday before the fire night. Someone came, it was around afternoon, and then says they check in all the alarms if they are working or not. And he checked the one in the corridor. He didn't check the kitchen one. And I asked him why, and he says, because I knew a few months before, maybe they had, I wasn't sure when, but they had to check them. Then he said, no, we check in because just to make sure everything, all the alarms, they're working.
Okay, I want to just take that back in stages. Firstly, turning to the man himself, do you know who he worked for?
No, he was wearing a black uniform.
A black uniform?
Yeah.
Could you see if there was any marks or insignias on that uniform?
I don't remember.
And he didn't tell you who he worked for?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Did he say why he was checking the alarms?
He said they check in all the building.
All the building?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, you said he checked the alarms in the hallway.
Yeah.
Did you tell him there was an alarm in the kitchen as well?
No, I didn't. But usually they should know because there's an alarm in the kitchen and in the corridor, and this is something is always there. You have to check how many alarms in the house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you see how he checked the alarm in the hallway?
I think he I don't know, he done something, he moved it, and I wasn't concentrating with him. I didn't, stand in the front of him and see what he was doing, but I saw he was, doing something on the fire alarm, yeah.
Right. After he checked the alarms, did he give you anything to sign or ask you to confirm that he'd been to visit?
No. Yeah.
Did he give you any other advice on what to do if there was a fire?
No.
And did you have any discussion about what to do if there was a fire at all?
No, never.
Right. How long did that visit last, the one that he came to your flat?
It was a few minutes. It was very fast.
Now, turning to paragraph 28, so I'm just taking us back a paragraph before this on page 4. You've also, you said, at no point before or after I moved in was I given any information about fire safety. I was not given any information about how to get out of the building in the event of a fire or any other emergency, although I assumed I should use the stairs and not the lift. I had previously done a number of courses at Olympia, including health and safety and food safety, as well as fire safety course. Now, within that paragraph, you say that nobody gave you any information then.
Yeah.
And why did you assume that you should use the stairs and not the lift?
I think it's common sense when there's a fire.
And taking us next to paragraph 30, this is on page 5 of the statement. You refer within that paragraph to saying, in terms, I'm taking us to the middle of the paragraph, in terms of instructions, there was never any fire drill. I think that there was one sign by the lift saying stay inside the flat and don't use the lift in the event of the fire. I remember thinking that it was a bit weird to be advised to stay in the flat in the event of a fire, and it was something that I mentioned to Hoang and Sid. The thought of a fire was something I was worried about. It was a nightmare scenario for me. There was, as far as I am aware, no signs by the fire exit and stairwell and nothing on the stairs. I want to first ask you about the sign that you've referred to by the lift. If the witness could be shown INQ 93. Is this the sign that you were referring to in your statement?
Yeah, it looked like. Yeah.
So you recognize this sign that you're seeing?
Yeah, I think so.
Now, you say you saw the sign by the lift. Do you remember which floor you saw that sign?
It was next to the lift.
Was this on your floor, on the ground floor, and any other floor?
In my floor.
Your floor?
Yeah.
Did you see it on any other floors?
I think so, yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
Do you remember seeing it on the ground floor at all?
Yes, I think, yeah.
And what advice did you understand the sign to be giving you?
When I read the sign there says if there's any fire happen, stay in, not use the left. That's what I remember.
Now, you've said in your statement that you thought this was a bit weird.
Yeah.
Why did you think this was a bit weird?
Because if there's a fire, I think people should leave the building as soon as possible.
Now, aside from this notice, were you aware of any other information from any other organisation or individual about what you should do in the case of a fire?
No, just through the courses I done, and that's for the safety. I understand what to do and where there's a fire or any emergency, what to do. But nothing from nowhere else I found any information.
And when you refer to the courses, are you referring to the courses that you took at Olympia that you mentioned in the statement?
Yeah.
What were you advised to do in those courses?
I was preparing for work, and then there was a few courses was going for health and safety, food health and safety, and if it's occasionally if there's a fire on the buildings and all that. And then I done a whole course with all this, so.
And during that course, what advice did they give you about what to do in the event of a fire?
Do not use lift.
Do not use the lift.
Yeah. Car emergency. Use the stairs to leave the building. And any building, you should know which point you should go to if there's a fire.
So as of June 2017, what was your understanding as a resident of what you should do in Grenfell Towers if there was a fire?
If there's a fire,
yes,
leave immediately. Yeah.
Finally, you said within your statement, and this is taking you back to paragraph 30 on page 5 of the statement. At the end of this paragraph, you said the thought of a fire was something that specifically worried you and was a nightmare scenario for you. Was there any particular reason why you were concerned about being caught in a fire in June 2017?
I don't understand, sorry.
So, was there any reason why, before the fire that took place in Grenfell Tower, you were particularly worried about there being a fire?
When I moved to the building, Soon I attend the meetings, and I saw how all the residents was worried about many issues happening in the building, and they didn't feel safe. And that feeling just started from the beginning, and I started to feel it. And secondly, when they put the boiler next to the front door, that was the other things was really worrying me, because if it's something happening to this boiler, if it's blow up, that's the only one interest. How I'm gonna leave this flat? And then I start to worry a lot about it, and think about what I should do.
Right, thank you, Ms. Ali. Now, I'm going to turn now to the events of the 13th and 14th June 2017. Mm-hmm. Can you confirm on that particular night who was in your flat?
Yes, yeah, I was.
You were in the flat?
Yes.
And was anybody else also in the flat?
Yeah, my daughter and my husband.
And can you confirm what the name of your husband is?
Sid Ali Atmani.
Now I'm going to pick up at your statement at page 7, and this is paragraph 45 of your statement. Now you've said in your statement here, Ms. Ali, if I may just ask at this point, do you feel ready to continue, or would you like a break at this moment?
Yeah, we can continue.
You can continue. Yeah. If at any time you do feel that you need a pause, please do say so.
I would, thank you.
Now, within your statement here, you've said that you didn't go to bed that night, and for some reason you had energy, and you said you were awake then. Mm. You've also described how you opened all the windows, both in the sitting room and both bedrooms, as I felt suffocated. Mm. Now, at paragraph so is it paragraph 47? You then say that you've seen a copy of the CCTV image X091 of when I was leaving the tower, and it's timed at 1:20:17. About 20 to 30 minutes before I left the tower, when I was in my room with the laptop, I smelt something small. It smelt like plastic burning. It was not a strong smell. When you say it wasn't a strong smell, how strong was that smell at that time?
It was slightly like when you smell like a plastic burning. It was very light smells burning. It wasn't strong.
And at that stage, could you tell if the smell was coming from inside your flat or outside?
I noticed it's coming from outside, but because I couldn't see anything, I started to search the flat and make sure it's not coming from the electrics and search everything, yeah, inside and outside, yeah.
And did you see if it was coming from inside the flat?
No, it wasn't coming from inside, yeah.
Okay, you said then that you went to the living room and kitchen and looked round the flat, looked out of the windows, but you couldn't see anything. Mm-hmm. And so as you've described, you searched the flat. Yeah. And you went back to the bedroom and sat on the bed with the laptop. After a few minutes, I smelt the burning smell again, this time a little bit stronger. And I looked out of the window to see if I could see smoke, and you didn't see anything. Did you see any emergency personnel or people outside the tower when you looked out the window?
No.
And when did you first see smoke then?
When I went back and I looked down, I pulled myself down to see under the building, because when you open the window, you can't directly see what's under. Mm-hmm. Then I had to, go out of the window to see. And then I start to see the light smoking coming under from the right side going to the left side, right, under the building.
No, you've gestured that you had to lean over through the window. Is there anything obstructing your view when you looked out the window?
Yeah, it's the structure of the building, the covering, they done outside the building, and the plastic between the window and inside. It was a bit taking space, and you have to pull yourself up to reach to see something under there, yeah. Mm.
So you said at this time you then saw the smoke, and this was on your right-hand side from the building.
Yeah.
Now, at this stage, you've then referred to, at paragraph 48, this is the following on paragraph within the statement, you said you woke up Sid Ali Atmani, this is your husband.
Yes.
And what was his reaction when he was woken up about it?
That night he was very ill. He had a very high temperature, and I was nursing him all night and the night before. And I was worried, and I waked him, and he wasn't concentrating because he was shivering, and he was telling me, he told me to not worry, because usually kids, they burn the bin outside the building, and I think it happened before. Say, don't worry, this is the same thing. You don't need to just, calm down and go back.
Did you stop worrying?
No.
Why didn't you stop worrying then?
Firstly, I worry a lot, and I like to make sure I know what's going on for me to feel safe. Yeah, because I get panic attacks, and I'm always anxious.
And so did you make sure that everything was all right?
Yeah, I went back, I looked around the windows again until I leaned and I saw the smoke. When I saw the smoke, and that's when I decided to go out the flat and check around, outside my flat. And I came out, I saw the corridor empty. I couldn't hear anything, no alarm. I don't see anyone moving. Then I took my jacket and I walked to the stairs door, and I opened the stairs and I went there to see if there's anyone panicking. Then I looked down. I saw just maybe two people, two hands going down the stairs. And I looked up and I saw an old lady who was talking in the phone. And then she asked me, do you think there's a fire? And I say, I don't know. Do you know anything? And then she say, someone's telling me there's a fire. And then she wasn't sure. And I had to go back. I ran back to my flat. And then I went to my husband. I said, listen, there's something serious now, and we have to leave. And he wasn't replying. He said, I can't go down and then come back for nothing.
Okay, now Ms. Ali, I just want to take you back, because you've described quite a lot in one go there.
Yeah.
Now if I can take you back in stages about exactly what you saw. You've said that you went out into the communal lobby and
Yeah.
you didn't hear anything at that
Nothing.
time.
Yeah.
You didn't hear any fire alarms.
Nothing. Yeah.
Now, if I can take you to your statement, and this is at paragraph 49 on page 8 of the statements, IWS 3, page 8. Now, as you've just told us, you didn't feel reassured after speaking to your husband, Sid Ali Atmani. So you said you went back to your room, saw the smoke again, and then you went to the flat door and went outside, and went out, looked around outside, but I saw nothing and nobody. Everything was quiet, but I noticed the air fan vents in the lift lobby area by my flat were open and whirling, bringing air in on the landing. Now, you've already corrected that it wasn't actually bringing air in on the landing, but you could
Yeah,
hear
it was just loud.
It was loud. Now,
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to ask you about. You've just told the inquiry that when you first looked into the lobby, you didn't hear anything at all.
Yeah.
In your statement, you said that you heard air fan vents.
When I say I didn't hear anything, I mean people.
Okay.
That's the. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Sally. That is clear. Now, these air fan vents that you heard, what could you hear exactly at that time?
It was like willing, like I was like a loud, you know, like when you hear a loud fan taking or bringing air, but it made this loud noise. But you don't feel the air coming, you don't feel cold, or you don't feel there's air. That's why I didn't know if it's bringing or taking. But all what I heard is the loud.
Was the noise consistent? Or?
Yes, continue, non-stop. It's like loud noise, yeah.
And was that noise louder, for example, than a vacuum cleaner?
Louder a bit than vacuum cleaner.
Louder than a vacuum
Louder.
cleaner. That's right. Now, if I could show you two images. Mr. Chairman, if I can give firstly our normal warning, these are images from inside the
Is this
building.
floor 6 again?
That is floor 6, and it is the lobby. So they've been taken after the fire, but do not show anything particularly distressing.
Quite. Well, people are now aware that they were taken after the fire, but I think
Yes.
they're not of a particularly distressing nature, are they?
No, they're not. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Now, if we can have BLA 402513 and BLA 402514, if they can be placed side by side. Now, these are photographs, as you've noted, Mr. Chairman, of floor 6 of the communal lobby taken by the inquiry's experts. And you can see that's a normal picture of a lobby that would be similar to what you would have seen on floor 15. Is that right, Ms. Ali?
Yes.
Now, BLA 2513 shows vents high up on the north side of the building. So that's the picture on the left. That would show the north side.
Yeah.
And BLA 2514, that's a picture on the right-hand side, shows vents closer to the ground on the south side of the building. Now, your flat was on the north side of the tower.
Yeah.
Would you recognise the vents on the left? Firstly, the vents that you were referring to just now, do you recognise them within this picture?
Yeah, it's the left one, the higher one.
It's if you could, maybe if I can invite you to show us on the left picture. Yes, the one that's higher up.
Yes, the higher one.
And is that where you heard the sound coming from?
Yes. Yeah.
Now, with the sound that you heard, firstly, when you heard it on the landing, you said it was quite a loud sound. Before you opened the front door, did you hear that noise?
Yeah.
You did?
Before I opened the door, it was less. It's like you can hear it, but it's not strong like when you are inside the flat. Soon you open the door, you hear it.
And you said that you didn't feel any movement of air in the lobby at the time.
Yeah.
What was the temperature of the lobby like at this time?
It wasn't cold. It was a bit. It was normal temperature, but I don't exactly remember if it was hot or cold. Yeah.
Okay.
It was normal. Yeah.
Right. Now, this noise that you've heard, have you ever heard that noise before?
Yeah, one time.
One time?
Yeah.
Do you remember when that time was?
It was, I think, a few months before the fire. I think I came to the flat and then I heard it. I don't know if I came or I left, but what happened, I heard it. Then we went down. Then I saw the fire brigade on the building. And then I spoke to one of them and I say, what's happening? And they told me, we think maybe is a fire or something, but we couldn't find anything. But you don't need to worry. But then I asked him, I say, why there's a loud, then he told me, this is for emergency. When is there a fire, they have to bring or take in air. He tried to explain it to me like that.
All right, I just want to take that in parts. You said you heard the noise and then you went downstairs.
Yeah.
And this is a few months before the fire.
Yeah.
Do you remember exactly which months, or?
I don't know if it was a month or 2 months before the fire.
Okay. What prompted you to go down on that occasion?
I think we was leaving the building, and then when I opened the door and I heard it, then I went down and I saw the fire brigade man there, and I asked them.
Okay, so you saw the fire. Where exactly did you speak to this fire?
On the
fighter?
ground, on the ground floor.
Was that within the tower?
Within the tower, inside the tower.
And he told you, you've told the choir, he told you that there was a, they thought there was a
should
fire.
be open and work when there's an emergency.
This being the air vents?
Yeah, the air vents, yeah.
Now this noise, the noise you heard at that time, did it sound the same or was it different in any way?
It was the same.
It was the same sound?
Yeah.
And finally, are you sure it was in 2017 that this happened, or before 2017?
No, it was
Definitely 2017.
Yeah.
Right, now Miss Ali, take us back to the night of the fire itself. You said that you heard the sound of the air vents on this first time that you went into the communal lobby.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice any signs of smoke inside the communal lobby?
No.
And when you went to the staircase, you said you opened the door to the staircase,
Yeah.
is that right?
Yes.
Was the door to the staircase difficult to open, or did you notice any resistance when you opened the door?
It was just a heavy door, and you know, like you have to pull it out, and you know, it was a bit heavy door, yeah. But it was easy to open, you know, it wasn't hard to open, yeah.
Mm.
Right, and when you went into the staircase, did you go actually inside the staircase, or did you stay at the door?
Inside this.
Inside.
Yes, yeah.
Did you notice any movement of air in the staircase when you went in?
No, when I didn't notice until I looked down and I saw two people moving down. Like I can see like 2-3 hands holding that and going down. And they was a bit far. And then when I looked up, I saw the lady who was standing in the top of me, on the top floor. Just one floor above me, yeah.
But in terms of the feeling of the air in the staircase, could you feel anything different? Or?
No, everything looked normal in that time.
And did you notice any signs of smoke in the staircase?
No.
No. Right, so you then return, you've described already the conversation that you had with the lady, and she told you someone had told her there was a fire.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Can you remember what she was wearing?
I think she was wearing a long dress, and she had a small scarf, you know, in her head. Yeah.
Do you remember what colour the dress was, or the scarf?
I don't know, it was dark, so maybe brown, black, something like that. I wasn't sure.
And was the scarf covering her hair, or
Just her hair, like a turban. You know.
like a turban?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you went back from there, you went back to your flat. Is that right?
Yeah.
And when you went back to the stairwell door, closed by itself, or did you pull it shut behind?
It closed by itself.
Closed by itself.
Yeah.
Now, if we can turn back to your statement, page 8, paragraph 50. At this point, you said you've gone back, you've told Sid that there was a fire, and you've described then that you tried to persuade him to leave with you.
Yeah.
At this point, you've described that you're trying to tell Sid that you want to leave, and you've also gone to get your daughter. What made you decide to leave the flat at that time?
sewing person who worried if there's a fire on talking in the phone. Maybe she, that moment I felt, okay, if she's talking about the fire and I saw all this signs and I saw the smoke outside, then that's mean there's something going on and I need immediately to leave. Okay. Yeah.
And when you left, who did you leave the flat with, if anyone?
My daughter.
Your daughter?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Mr. Chairman, I noticed that we've been going for 50 minutes. I wonder whether this might be an appropriate point to take.
Well, I did have my eye on the clock.
Yeah.
How long do you think you may want to keep this witness?
I believe it may be another 15 to 20 minutes.
Oh, well, in that case, I think we ought to give her a break now. Yes. Mrs. Ali, I think it would be a good idea to have a short break at this point. So we're going to stop for 10 minutes. I have to ask you, please, not to speak to anyone about your evidence while you're out of the room. All right? We'll resume at 11:20. And if you'd like to go with the usher now, she'll look after you.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
Thank you very much. All right. Right, 11:20, please. Thank you. Right, would you like to ask Mrs. Ali to come back, please? Thank you. All right. Happy to carry on?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Before the break, you've been describing that you decided finally to before the break, you decided to evacuate the flat, and you left with your daughter. On the second time that you returned to the communal lobby, did you notice any change in the conditions in the lobby compared to the first time that you looked in?
No.
Could you still hear the vents making the sound that you described?
Sorry, can I go? You mean when I left my flat and
Yes.
I went down, or?
Yes. So you've described that you went once into the communal lobby, you looked in the stairs, went back to your flat,
Yeah.
and then the second time you left on the final occasion
Yeah.
with your daughter.
Yeah.
On the second time, did you still hear the air vents?
Yes.
And were they making the same sound as you heard the first time?
Yes. Yeah.
And did you notice any signs of smoke on the second occasion that you were in the communal lobby?
No.
Now, when you went into the stairs on the second occasion, when you were finally leaving the tower, did you notice any signs of smoke in the stairs on that occasion?
No.
Now, if we can turn to page 8 of your statement, paragraph 51. You described here that you went out of the flat with your daughter's name's been redacted and ran to the stairs. And you opened the door and ran down. You say that when I reached, I think, the 5th or 6th floor, I saw a fire brigade man looking for water, trying to fit his hose to something on the wall. See my exhibit RA5 depicting the hose on the floor. Now, if we can have RA6, that's IWS 3, page 17. And I think if that can be rotated round. Right. Now that shows the staircase. Can you describe exactly what you can see in that exhibit?
I saw the hose was on the floor, and one of the fire brigade men was on the area, and and the stairs. That's what I saw.
Okay. Now for the record, you're pointing at the screen when you're referring to the hose. Are you talking about the red line that we can see in the middle of the
Yes.
picture?
Yeah.
And that depicts the hose.
Yeah.
And is the box on the wall the box that you were saying you were referring to in your statement?
Yeah. It wasn't a box. It was, I think, something on the wall, but I don't know if it was for the water or I didn't know exactly what it was for.
Right. And can I check with you, Miss Ali, when you say on the landing, are you referring to the landing that leads into one of the lobbies, or was it a landing, the half landing in between two floors?
Between two floors.
Between the two floors.
Yeah.
And was this box attached to the wall or next to the wall?
I don't remember.
And are you sure? And are you sure that this object was in the stairwell itself?
Yeah. Yes.
And did you see what the firefighter was doing with it?
I think he was pulling the hose and looking for something, but I didn't know exactly what he was doing or he was looking for. Then I thought maybe he's looking for water or to somewhere he can attach the hose he was holding to.
How long did you observe him doing this?
It was just a second because I passed him and I saw what he was doing, and when I saw him I just walked down.
Right, and so you kept going after
Yeah.
that. Right, now, in your statement as well, you've said at paragraph 52, if we can go back to statement page 8, You said that I ran so fast with, name redacted, a guy with a little baby came running past me, not looking, just going fast. There was no smoke on the stairs all the way down and the lights were on. I didn't see any fire when I was inside the tower. Was there any difficulty in this man passing you on the stairs?
Because he was just so fast, faster than me. He ran so fast, he wasn't looking around. It's like maybe he knew what's going on because he was so determined to leave quickly. And then he just passed me fast. And he kept going down all the way.
And was there enough space for him to pass you quickly?
Yes, yeah.
Right. You've also told the inquiry today and in your statement that you've had difficulty with your mobility and movement.
Yeah.
On that night, did you have any difficulty coming down the stairs because of your mobility?
Yes, yeah, it was. I had the stiff, my body was so, because I felt so tense and hard, of course, to walk. I say here running, but it's not running, it's maybe fast walking, trying to leave quickly. Yeah.
Okay. So how long do you estimate that it took you to come down the stairs then?
I think a few minutes.
Now you, on the way down the stairs, did you notice if any stairwell doors were open to the lobbies?
Only when I reached the 6th or the 5th, when I saw the family standing, the door was opening and they were standing next to the door speaking with one of the firemen. And the lady was crying and saying, the fire reached my kitchen, and then there was panicking, and she had 2 kids with her and her husband, and they was all in pajamas. Then that's the only time I saw a door open. Yeah.
Okay. And did you see what was holding that door open on that floor?
The family.
The family.
The lady with her husband and the kids, yeah.
Right. Now, you went down the stairs with your daughter on that, and you said that you've exited Grenfell Towers then. Now, if I can take you to page 9 of your statement. This is where you said that you've left Grenfell Towers and then a tower, and then you returned again. Why did you go back to Grenfell Tower?
Because I left my husband.
Now I'm going to take you through your exit and the return of the tower in stages. But first what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a number of CCTV stills which show your exit and the return. And then I will go through each of those images. I'll break them down in turn. Okay, so if we can go through all of them. As I go through these images, I will also give you what we call the adjusted time. So that's the real time of the cameras that we've had, for each of the cameras. If we can turn firstly to INQ 490, I do have one first question when we show that image. That's INQ 490, that's 50490. This was taken at 1:19:43. Now, Ms. Ali, can you confirm for the record who the people in that image are?
Myself and my daughter.
Right. Now, if we can go through the next images, there's INQ 491. This was taken at 1:19:52. INQ 492, and this was taken at 1:21:26. INQ 493, taken at 1:21:32. INQ 494, taken at 1:21:42. INQ 495, taken at 1:21:49. INQ 496, taken at 1:21:58. INQ 497 at 1:22. INQ 498 at 1:22:18. INQ 499 at 1:22:21. The Boxing Club CCTV still that was taken at 1:22:36. INQ 500 taken at 1:23:12. And finally, INQ 501 taken at 1:23:20. Now, there's a large number of stills, and it shows your movement within the lower floors of Grenfell Tower in detail.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you now a few questions that come from those stills and your movements. If we can now show your statement at page 9, paragraph 55 and 56. In these paragraphs, you've already told the inquiry that you'd like to correct the order of the events, but they generally are correct, the events themselves. You said, I was disoriented. You saw people, and there was one of my neighbours, Aziza, a lady, and I asked her to look after, redacted name, but she didn't register what I was saying. I recognised another lady from the tower I didn't know at the time, but I could see that she looked and dressed like she was from, like I was. And I said to her in our language, Auntie, can you look after my child? I need to look after my husband, look for my husband. I'll then turn to paragraph 56, where you describe, I went to the tower entrance and up to the second floor, and I saw people coming out. On the second floor, a fireman held the door and stopped me and wouldn't let me past. I said that my husband is left in the tower, he is sick, he is ill, he can't walk. They asked me for my flat number and floor and said they would go and get him. I had the key to the flat in my hand. I gave this to them, and they promised me they will get him out. On the ground floor by the lift, there were two ladies, maybe Afghanis, an old lady and her daughter outside the door. The mother didn't really speak English. The daughter had broken English, and they were trying to go up in the lift. I stopped them, pushed them out. I said, you will die. The lady threw herself on the floor crying, just saying, husband, husband. The daughter was saying that her son was with her dad, who is very old. You've described a number of different interactions with people at this stage. Now, if we can go through the CCTV again, you've seen that in the chronological order. And I would ask firstly for INQ 492 first again. Can you describe who the people you can see in this image are?
I think they are the Jaffer family, and I found out who they are after. You know, I didn't know in that time what their name. Yeah.
And just for the record, there's three people in the pictures.
Yeah.
Can you confirm who you say are the two that are the Jafari?
Two lady in the front.
In the front.
And I'm in the back.
You're the lady at the back.
Yeah.
In the orange and
Yes.
pink scarf.
Yeah.
Right. And then if we can have INQ 493 followed by 494. Now, you've described these. This is INQ 493. Again, these are the two ladies that you said before.
Yeah.
In your statement, you described having a conversation with two ladies that were maybe Afghani. Are these the two ladies that you're referring to?
Yes.
And there you seem to be saying something to the two ladies. Do you remember what it was that you were saying there?
I was saying to them to stop, to not go to the left, because they was planning to take the left. And I was saying to them, you can't. If you go, you're going to be stuck. And an emergency you shouldn't use. And you're going to put your life on dangers. I tried to stop them to not go to the left.
And did they stop going to the left?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, if we can have INQ 494. I believe this is the same conversation you just described for us.
And the mom, she was panicking because she was worried about her husband. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, if we can turn to INQ 497. So if we can turn firstly to 495. I apologise, I've gone too far forward. Can you identify the people in this image?
Yeah. Myself, my daughter, and my neighbor, Aziza.
Aziza?
Yeah.
And do you remember what you were saying at this time?
Yeah. I was talking to her and explaining to her to take, if she can look after my daughter, then I go back and get my husband. And I was just explaining the situation to her. And
Okay.
yeah.
And did she look after your daughter then?
When I went up and I came back down, I saw her, you know, she was talking with people as she left Hoang, standing, you know, by herself. And then I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel my daughter was safe. Then I took her and I looked for someone else. When I find the other lady, Zainab, from my country, and I spoke to her in my language, and I said, please, can you look after her? I left her with someone, but I don't feel safe to leave her. Can you look after her? And then she hugged her and then told me, don't worry, just go. And I came back.
Okay, now Ms. Ali, looking at these stills in turn, you've got INQ 495 there.
Yeah.
If we can then show you 496, which is the next still. Followed by INQ 497. Now we can see from these series of images, they were taken, this is at 122.36. The previous two were 122.25 is INQ 495, then 122 at 34 at 496. And this is the final one at INQ 122.36. Was it at this time that Aziza did look after your daughter?
Yeah, this is when I left my daughter with Aziza. Yeah.
And you went up the stairs at this time. Now you've just described finding another lady who then looked after your daughter. Was that after you left the tower for the final time?
Yes.
Not at this stage when you're going back up the stairs?
No.
Right. Now you've gone back up the stairs. If we could now have INQ 498, which is taken at 122.54. And can we have INQ 499 together, side by side? Okay, now you can see two images here. The one on the left-hand side is taken at 122.54. The one on the right-hand side, was the INQ 499, was taken at 122.57. So it came afterwards. The one that's left is first and the one on the right is second. Can you identify who you can see in this image?
Yeah, myself and the two lady I was speaking in the beginning, and someone else.
And someone else,
Yeah.
that's okay. Just to confirm for the record, where do you see yourself in this image?
On the first floor.
On the first floor, is that on the raised level?
Yeah.
And to confirm again, for the record, you said there were the two ladies that you're speaking to before. Are those the two Afghan ladies that you're
Yes.
referring to?
Yeah.
And where are they in the image that you can see?
One on the first floor with me, the daughter, and the mom on the ground floor.
Okay, and the daughter's the one wearing blue. We can say
Yeah.
the lady in blue for now.
Yeah.
Now, you both appear, well, you appear to be looking into the mezzanine level in the first image.
Yeah.
Do you remember what you were seeing at that time?
All what I remember, I went through there and turned to the stairs and tried to get to the second floor. And that moment, I thought I am in the second floor. And then a fire brigade man came and stopped me. And he told me, you can't go. He stopped me to go up. And then I start, explaining to him why I want to go. I say, I left my husband, he's very ill. I gave him some medication. I'm worried if he go back to sleep. Please, can you get him? He's in flat 125, 15th floor. This is the key. Can you make sure you get him? Then he say, yes. And he took the key from me and told me, don't worry, we will bring him down.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, now, Ms. Aziza, you've described a conversation again with the firefighter, which is also said on your statement.
Yeah.
What I propose to do is we've seen these two images in the mezzanine. I'm going to take you back to that conversation, but if we can now see the third image as well, which is the boxing club CCTV still. So this is taken, just to recap, these are taken at 122.54, and then the third image is the CCTV still from the boxing club. And this is taken at 122.36. Sorry, it was 122.18 is the previous image, and this is 122.36. Now, in this image, we can see a firefighter in the top left-hand corner, and there's also just below the writing. If we can expand on that top left-hand corner, possibly, we can see somebody wearing orange and pink.
Yes, that's me.
Do you believe that's you? And
Yeah.
you've described a conversation with a firefighter. Did you have more than one conversation with a firefighter on that evening?
I think it was only him. It
was only
one
him?
person.
One person?
Yeah.
Now, this CCTV still is taken outside the boxing club on the stairs leading up to the second floor.
Okay, yeah.
Do you believe this is where you had that conversation that you've just described?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The stills that we had just shown you before that show you looking into the mezzanine level, which is a level below the staircase.
Yeah.
Do you recall looking into the mezzanine level at all?
No, I was just imagining it was first floor, and then I was second. Everything seems high when I was up there, and that's why I thought it was the first floor, and then I was in the second floor.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Now, returning to this conversation that you've had at this time with this firefighter, you've said that you were telling him that your husband was left in the flat. Is that right?
Yeah.
Did you tell him what the flat number and floor was for your husband?
Yes, yeah. I repeated to him. It's flat 125, 15th floor.
And did you see what he did with that information?
No, because he told me to leave and he will deal with it. Then I had to not cause a trouble or had to leave, yeah, go down again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you've also referred to giving him your keys in the statement.
Yes.
Did you give your keys to this firefighter
Yes,
this time?
yeah.
Did he take your keys?
Yes, and he assured me he will go and they will go and get him.
Your husband?
Yeah.
And at this point, did you leave the tower again?
Yeah, I went down.
Right.
Yeah.
When you went outside the tower, where did you go then?
That's when I left the tower after that moment, when I saw Hayam and Aziza, and I took my daughter, and I took my daughter and looked for the other lady who was holding her, and I left her with the other lady. Then I came back, and I was between, walking to the building, walking back, looking at the people panicking, people crying, people screaming, wanting to go back. And the police arrive on that moment, and they start to stop people to go back to the building.
Right. I have one last question just about what you saw when you'd exited the tower, so just before this time that you are talking about outside.
Yeah.
As you left the tower, did you hear the sound of any fans on the ground floor at all?
No.
Okay. Now, thank you, Ms. Ali. Those are the questions that I have for you at this stage. However, I believe that, Mr. Chairman, there may be some further questions.
Right, like a short break, just to check.
I would ask for a short break.
Well, Ms. Ali, this is very common. Once council thinks she's asked all the questions, she needs a chance just to check that. So we're going to have a 5-minute break now while she considers that, and then I'll ask you to come back and see if there are any more questions. All right?
All right,
So while you're out of the room, don't talk to anyone about your evidence, if you wouldn't mind. Right, would you like to go with the usher? Thank you. And we'll resume at 5 to 12. All right, thank you. Right, 5 to 12, please. Well, Ms. Sirokumaran, have you got some more questions?
There's one or two more
I
questions.
thought there might be, yes, thank you. All right, Mrs. Ali, I think there are one or two more questions, so let's see where we get to.
Right.
Yes?
Now, Ms. Ali, you've described in detail the air vents and what you'd heard on the night of the fire. You've also described that there was a previous occasion that you'd heard the air vents when the LFB attended, the firefighters attended. In normal times between that, did you ever hear any sound from the air vents coming?
No.
No. And did you ever feel any movement of air in the communal lobby?
No.
Right, well, Miss Ali, I've got one final question for you. Is there anything further that you remember about the night, above what you've put in your written statement and above what you've told us today to the inquiry, that you think it's important for the chairman to know?
The big moment who stuck, who left inside me in that night, it was when I came first out of the building with my daughter, and I just saw the fire. That pictures where I stopped from a few moments and watching the fire, how strong, how fast, how scary it was, and the firefighter who was standing there under that fire trying to put the fire down, and everything was melting and falling down on him. And how strong was the point where the fire was coming out. It looked like the color, the blue, green colors, was bombing all the way up. That picture stays in my head. It was really then where I forget everything after and what coming up. It was a moment I always will remember. And I really remember that person who was trying to put that fire down. Yeah.
Well, Ms. Ali, thank you for sharing your recollections and for coming to the inquiry today.
I have a few words I want to say, if that's okay.
You want other things you want to say?
Yeah, though.
All right.
Is that fine? Yeah. The Grenfell Tower tragedy has left me and my family forever mentally and spiritually scarred. The face of all the innocent people who were claimed by that ruthless fire have damaged me forever. My daughter has been seriously traumatized by the fire. She constantly feels like her life is in danger, and she is not able to sleep without me by her side. And 8 months after the fire, she was diagnosed with type 1 diabetic, and those responsible for the fire are to blame. My heart goes out to the London Fire Brigade, who were both in opposition, and I pray those responsible for all the life-long memories lost will be brought to justice. I just missed a paper, I'm sorry.
All right, well, sorry.
My heart goes out to the London Fire Brigade, who were both in opposition, trying to bottle the fire. I remember leaving the fire and seeing the firefighter struggling to contain the fire with inadequate equipment to the people who lost their loved ones in the fire. I cannot comprehend the pain you are all feeling, and I pray those responsible for all this lifelong memories lost will be brought to justice. Thank you.
Well, Mrs. Ali, you and your family have obviously had a terrible experience, and I'm sorry that we've had to ask you to come and talk about it in public. But you should know that your evidence is very valuable to us.
Thank you.
And we're very grateful to you for coming along to tell us what you saw and experienced.
Thank you.
All right, so thank you very much indeed. All right, well, now you're free to go. Would you like to go with the usher, and she'll look after you?
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Now, we have another witness, is that right?
We do, Mr. Chairman. I would ask for a 10-minute break in order to make appropriate arrangements for that witness.
Yes, all right. Well, I'll rise now. Would 10 past be slightly less than 10 minutes? Would that be all right, won't it?
Yes, then great. Thank
Right,
you.
10 past 12, please. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Rawat.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for the additional time. Can I now call Mrs. Wang Can Quang, please?
Yes, thank you.
So I'll swear the interpreter first.
Yes, thank you.
Repeat after me, please. I do solemnly, sincerely and truly
I do solemnly, sincerely and truly
declare and affirm
declare and affirm
that I will well and faithfully interpret
that I will well and faithfully interpret
and true explanation make
and true explanation made
of all such matters and things as shall be required of me,
of all such matters and things as shall be required of me,
according to the best of my skill and understanding.
according to the best of my skill and understanding.
Thank you.
Okay. I swear the witness now, please.
I'll translate it to her in Chinese first.
Okay.
我呢則行謹以至誠、鄭重聲明以及落實，我會盡我所能，以我嘅理解、忠實及全面咁翻譯堂上一切嘅事情同埋情況。Now she can-
I do solemnly, sincerely and truly
Can you translate as you go along?
OK， yeah. 我本人謹以本人，sorry， 本
declare
人謹以至誠，你跟我
本人謹以至誠，
根據聲明
根據聲明
及肯定，
及肯定，
declare and affirm
聲明及肯定。
今聲明及肯定，
that the evidence I shall give
我所作嘅證供
我所作嘅證供
shall be the
係
truth,
事實，
均為事實，
均為事實，
the whole truth,
全部屬
全
實，
屬實，全部屬實，
and nothing but the truth.
並無虛假。
並無虛假。
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mrs. Wang, do sit down. Make yourself comfortable.
Thank you。
All right? Yes, Mr. Rawat?
Thank you, sir. Can you give the inquiry your full name, please?
你可唔可以講講你嘅全名？
我個名叫Quang Quang。
My name is Quang Hoang.
Okay.
Mrs. Quang, thank you for coming to give evidence today. Your help is very much appreciated.
鄺女士，今日你嘅出現，我哋非常之感激，同埋好多謝你嘅出席。
Most of my questions will be about the night of the fire itself. And we all understand that it will be difficult for you to have to go back over those events. If you need a
I'll
break,
just pause at that point.
我哋絕大部分嘅問題今日咧都係有關火災發生當日嘅事情。咁如果你覺得你需要停止嘅時候，
if you need to take a break at any point, just let me know and we will stop.
你任何時候需要停止嘅時候咧，同我講聲，我就會停㗎啦。
I will try and keep my questions short and simple.
我會盡量將我嘅問題簡單同埋好短。
If I ask a question that you don't understand, please tell me and I'll ask it in a different way.
如果你唔明個問題嘅話咧，你可以同我講，咁我就用另外一個方式去再發問。
Before I show you your statement,
我喺俾你嘅證供俾你睇之前，
I should explain and that you have a statement that's in English and there is also a Chinese translation of that statement.
你嘅證供咧係用英文寫出嚟嘅，但係亦都有一個中文嘅版本。
That translation is there to help you, Mrs. Quang.
嗰個翻譯嘅版本咧係純粹係協助你嘅啫。
But when I'm asking my questions, I'll refer to the English statement.
我問你問題嘅時候咧，其實係用英文嘅版本作準。
And so what I'm going to ask the interpreter to do is to translate what I read from your English statement and my questions to you.
到時咧，我就會叫你嘅翻譯員幫你即係將我段英文嗰段翻譯做中文，然後就用中文問你個問題。
And then she can translate your answers back to us.
咁我咧就會將你嘅答案翻譯翻去俾佢哋聽。
So can we look at your English language statement? Can we have IWS 6080, please, page 1?
我哋可以睇睇呢一度。
This is the first page of the statement.
呢個係第一版。
It's there in paper form, and also it will come up on the screen in front of you.
呢個係喺第一版裏邊，亦都會喺個屏幕上邊睇到咯。
Could we go to page 12 of the statement?
我哋去第12版咯。
And if we see at the bottom,
我哋睇下邊嗰度。
there's a declaration that certifies that the statement was read to you and explained to you, and that you understood the statement and approved its contents as accurate. And that's Lucy Ho. That's your daughter, isn't it?
喺下低呢度咧有一橛嘅聲明，就係講明咧佢即係會佢係證實咗呢個由你嘅係咪你個女嚇佢嘅證供同埋佢嘅聲明咧係真實，同埋已經有人解釋咗俾佢聽嗰個情況㗎。咁我證明佢呢個證供咧係準確嘅。Yes, correct.
If we look above that, there's the date of the 1st of May 2018.
我哋睇睇上面個日期係寫住2018年5月1號嘅。Yes.
And there's a signature above that date. Is that your signature?
喺個證供上面嗰個係咪你嘅簽名咧 ？Yes.
Now, I understand we need to make some corrections to this statement. But before I do that, let's just put the Chinese translation of the statement that's been prepared by your solicitor into the record.
我哋需要將呢一段嘅聲明有些少嘅修正，但我哋喺修正之前呢，我哋睇睇你律師所提出嚟嘅證供先。用中文嗰度。
Translation is found at IWS 401170, please.
Sorry, what page is that? Number 1.
It's on the screen just now. Mr. Chairman, I don't need to bring it up on the screen, but there is a translator's certificate of accuracy, which for the record is at IWS 401154.
Yes.
But if we just if we can keep that page on the screen and put alongside it, the first page of Mrs. Quang's English statement, IWS 6080, please.
佢嗰份聲明係佢有一個即係中文呢個，呢個係中文嗰份嘅。Sorry, I'm lost.
Has the witness got a copy of the Chinese version? Right, so somewhere in your bundle, I think there is the Chinese.
If you look at the second tab in the bundle.
Should we put them side to side?
Madam Interpreter, if you go back to the beginning of the bundle, right to the beginning, turn right through, and look at the second tab.
This is the second tab.
Okay.
In Chinese, this is the English version.
Right.
So you've got both there.
I've got both here.
Thank
yes.
you.
我哋兩份中文同埋英文都有喺度。
But what we're going to do is put them both up on the screen as we make our corrections. And if, as I've said, if we can take it using primarily the English version. If we look at paragraph 3.
我哋要修改呢一份嘢之前呢，我哋睇住呢一份英文或者可以睇埋呢份中文。我哋首先睇睇第3點先。
If we look at paragraph 3 of the English statement, it begins, before the fire I was a home carer and worked 4 days a week. My client lived in King's Cross. And I understand that Mrs. Quang wanted to make clear that at that time she was not working for a regular client, but for different clients.
喺第3點嗰度咧，就係話咧喺個火燭之前咧，我係一個即係做一個看管照顧人、家居照顧人。咁我每日咧就每個星期咧就做4日，就係同呢個中文呢個 China's Association Tower Hamlets 做，但係其實咧，可能我係住喺 King's Cross， 但係其實咧我就並唔係就同一間公司做，而係同一笪地方做，而係我同唔同嘅公司做唔同嘅人。
公司分落去嗰個病人嗰度做啊嘛。
Because the job was distributed by the company to different clients.
So, but Mrs. Quang was working for one company, was she?
你當時係同
係一個公司，但係佢入邊好多病人，我係專門係同呢個病人做嘅。
There were many patients, and my job was distributed to different patients. But my main job is to work for the client who lives in King's Cross.
I follow. Thank you. Can we have then page 3 of the English language statement and also page 3 of the translation?
我哋而家睇第3版同埋睇埋第3版嘅翻譯啦。
In paragraph 10 of the English language version, the first sentence refers to 2 smoke alarms.
喺第10段裏邊講咧，我哋係講關於即係你個公寓裏邊嗰2個警鐘嘅。
But I'm told that the translation of this paragraph refers to just 1 smoke alarm. And just for, I'm sorry, well, please explain.
呢一段嘅翻譯裏邊咧，淨係講關於1個火警鐘啫。應該2個㗎。There should be 2.
So that's an error in the translation.
咁你認為佢嘅翻譯係錯咗嘅係咪咧？
翻譯就佢講1個啦。
So in the translation, it says my flat has the hallway and the kitchen has a smoke alarm. So I have an exhibit. The number is HKQI.
Okay, that's fine.
I wonder whether we could do this a different way. Madam Interpreter, could you just help us? Is the Chinese version saying the same as the English version, or is there a difference?
Yes, I think it is correct.
Okay.
It says there that it has in both the hallway as well as the kitchen.
Well, thank you for that assistance. Can we move forward then to paragraph 19 of the English language statement, which is on page 5? And if we move in the translation version, I think if we try and keep the 2 together as we go along, but the translated version, paragraph 19, is on page 4. My question and the correction that we need to make is to the English language version. And can I ask about paragraph 19, please? The first sentence of paragraph 19 in the English version begins after the new boiler was fitted. Is it right that that should read before the new boiler was fitted?
喺第19段英文版裏邊咧，就係講佢話咧係嗰個新嘅熱水爐安裝之後，咁啲水繼續流落嚟咁。其實係咪應該改做之前呢？
因為佢係做咗呢個boiler之後咧，就係有流水啊，喺 kitchen 同埋個 bathroom 度開始流水啊。
After the boiler was fit, the water was leaking as in the kitchen as well as in the bathroom. That was true.
And then is it, as I understand it, that someone came to fix the boiler and then noticed asbestos, and the asbestos was replaced and then the boiler was fixed?
係唔係即係有人嚟即係裝即係嚟修理個熱水爐嘅時候咧，就發現到有啲石棉，咁然後處理咗石棉之後，然後先至再修理嗰個熱水爐咧？
係啊，佢安裝呢個熱水爐之前啦，就已經發現喺個沖涼房個天花板上高有石棉。
So before they fit the boiler, they discovered there was asbestos in the ceiling of the bathroom.
所以佢哋唔做，嗰間公司唔做啊，就我哋打電話去 TMO。
So the company refused to deal with the boiler. So we rang the TMO.
但係 TMO 冇做，佢就交翻落去俾嗰間裝修公司度做。
TMO didn't deal with it. They sent the job to the company that constructed.
Was that company called Ryden?
講公司咪叫
Ryden 係。
Yes, correct.
Ryden 做咗嗰個石棉之後啊，然後佢安裝呢個 boiler。
So after Ryden has dealt with the asbestos, they come back and fix the boiler.
Okay, I think the last thing we need to deal with is on page 8 of the English language statement, and the corresponding translated versions at page 6.
最後我哋要處理嘅呢個證供咧，就係第8版上邊同埋第6版嘅中文翻譯本。
If we look at paragraph 31 in the English language statement,
我哋睇睇第31段講嘅係咩咧？個英文版本。
what it says there, and this is about your husband Van Ho. He then grabbed me by my top and pulled me to the front door.
Sorry, can you repeat that, please?
If you look in paragraph 31 of the English language statement, 4 lines down, it reads, he then grabbed me by my top and pulled me to the front door.
呢卷咧就係講喺第31段第4行嗰度咧，就係話咧你嘅前夫咧就拉住你件衫，同埋咧拖你去個前門嗰度嘅。
冇拖我去啊。
He did not pull me.
佢只係戚一下啫。
He just did this, just pick me.
Would it be fairer to say that Mr. Ho pulled once on Mrs. Quang and tugged at her clothes?
佢係我哋即係咪啱？我哋講得啱唔啱？如果佢話佢係拉過你一下，
佢拉過一下，佢又行，我又跟住佢行。
Yes, he did pull me once, and then I walked behind him.
因為當時好煙睇唔見路嘅。
It was very smoky, and I couldn't see very much.
If we look a little further down and look at the first line of paragraph 33 in the English statement, which reads, Van Ho had grabbed me and pulled me out of the flat.
喺第33段第一行嗰度講咧，佢話何先生咧係拉住我同埋拉我出去嗰個公寓嗰度嘅。
唔係啊。
No.
So Mrs. Quang wasn't pulled out of the flat by her husband.
其實就唔係拉你出去。
冇拉你係咁樣抽一下我件衫，佢又去行先，我跟你。
No, he didn't. All he did was just pick me on my top, and then he went off, and then I followed him.
因為嗰條路啊，我哋住咗幾十年，我哋識個方向，我哋行嘅，唔使邊個講邊個聽，自己自動識得行嘅。
We live in there for a long time, and we know the way, so we just know where to go. We didn't need him to pull me.
Well, having made those corrections and clarifications, can Mrs. Quang confirm that the contents of her English language statement are true?
我哋修正咗正話嗰幾點之後咧，你覺唔覺得你嘅英文呢個版本咧係真實嘅咧？係。Yes.
Can I begin then by asking some background questions, please?
我而家可唔可以開始即係問你一啲背景嘅問題咧
？Is it right, Mrs. Quang, that in June 2017 you were living in flat 76 on the 10th floor of Grenfell Tower?
鄺女士，你可唔可以即係確實一下咧？係2017年嘅6月，你住喺 Grenfell Tower 嗰座大廈嘅10樓第76號。
76號10樓係啱，我喺嗰度住。
Yes, I live in flat number 76 on the 10th floor. That's correct.
And how long had you lived in Grenfell Tower?
你喺嗰度住咗幾多年呢？住咗幾耐
27年。
27 years.
And in June 2017, who was living with you at the flat?
喺2017年嘅6月嘅時候，邊一個同你喺個公寓度住呢？
呢個係我前夫啊，因為我已經同佢分手，但係佢係上咗年紀，佢係病㗎，所以佢要求我翻嚟喺我度嚟過夜。變咗我見佢係病，變咗我要俾佢入嚟，但係我哋根本就係冇黐連乜嘢晒嘅。
I was with my ex-husband. We were separated, but because he's aged and he was ill, he asked to be looked after. So I agreed for him to come so that I can stay. I can look after him, but we have no other linkage.
In your statement, you explained you had 2 daughters. Were either of your daughters living at the flat?
你話你有2個女咯，咁當時佢哋有冇喺你個公寓裏邊呢？
我2個女，我個大女啊，有時佢翻嚟，有時冇翻。個細女啊就喺曼城讀大學㗎。
My elder daughter come and go, and my younger daughter was studying at the Manchester University at the time.
And in relation to your former husband, Van Ho Quang, would he just stay there occasionally?
你話你嘅前夫係唔係耐不耐先喺呢個度呢？
佢因為佢有病，佢如果佢要翻嚟，佢翻我唔能夠話見到佢病啦，我唔俾佢入。所以有時佢翻有唔翻，我根本完全我唔知道佢㗎。
Because he was ill, so he can come in and out as he wish. I couldn't stop him if he wants to come.
佢只係翻嚟係瞓覺，佢當我間屋係佢個客棧嚟㗎。
He only come to stay, and he treat my house as a hotel.
Can we go to your statement now, page 3 of the English version, so IWS 80, page 3. We want to put up alongside the translation, it's IWS 1170, page 2.
我哋打開第3版同埋佢嘅中文翻譯啦。
And if we look in particular at paragraph 9 of the English language statement, please.
我哋睇睇第9段嘅英文版。
The last 2 sentences of that statement reads, before the refurbishment there was a yellowish sign opposite the lift pointing to where to run. I'm not sure what they did to it after the refurbishment.
喺呢度咧，第9段嗰度第3行開始講咧，佢話喺翻新咗嗰座大廈之後咧，有一個黃色嘅告示牌，啱啱咧就喺嗰個升降機嘅對面，指住我應該去邊度走嘅。但係我唔好清楚，唔好肯定咧，佢哋做啲乜嘢啦。即喺裝修之前有呢個咁嘅黃色嘅告示牌，但係裝修完之後咧，我就唔肯定。即係去咗邊度？
佢有個櫃喺嗰度，佢安咗個櫃好大個，嗰個櫃係啲水喉啊嗰啲嘢全部佢安晒入去個櫃入邊度，所以嗰個牌已經都唔見咗。
There was a great big huge cabinet where all the hose, the water hose were fitted. It was on the same spot, so I don't know where the sign has gone.
After the refurbishment, did Mrs. Quang see a sign on her floor pointing out where to go?
佢哋做完嗰個即係裝修工程之後咧，你有冇見過一個咁嘅黃色嘅牌指住你要走去邊一度嘅咧？
唔見啊。
No, I didn't see it.
Mr. Chairman, I'm now going to show Mrs. Quang an image. It's one that we've seen many times before now with different witnesses. And it's a sign of a fire safety notice. So
Yes.
could I have, please, BLA 402416?
OK，呢個你睇睇呢一個。
Madam Interpreter, could you explain to Mrs. Quang that this is a sign which, it's a photograph taken by the inquiry's experts, and it shows a sign which was by the lifts on the 3rd floor.
呢一個告示咧就係其中之一個證人即係所影到嘅，呢個咧就喺第3樓嗰一度影到嘅。
我嗰層樓我唔見啊。
I didn't see one on my floor.
So just so we can clear, Mrs. Quang didn't see a sign like this by the lifts on her floor.
即係喺你嗰層嗰度，喺個升降機嘅隔離係冇一張咁樣嘅告示嘅，係咪啊？
升降機隔離。
Next to the lift? No, I don't think so.
Does she remember seeing a sign like this by the lifts on any floor?
你記唔記得有冇見過喺升降機任何一層嘅升降機旁邊有呢個告示咧？
呢個啊，如果我冇諗錯，係應該喺樓下㗎。
If I'm not mistaken, it could be on the ground floor. It's on the ground floor.
If there had been a sign like that on I'll ask Mrs. Quang the question. If there had been a sign like that on your floor, would you have been able to understand what it said?
如果你真係喺你住嗰一層上面有個咁樣嘅告示牌嘅話，你會唔會明白佢講啲咩嘅咧？
都唔會好完全明白佢嗰度㗎。
Not completely.
And if you had needed someone to translate it for you, who could you have asked?
如果你需要有人解釋俾你聽，即係翻譯俾你聽嘅話咧，你會問邊一個咧？
如果係有人翻譯嘅喺屋企嘅，我只有我問我個女，但係我記得我從來我都冇問過佢呢個㗎。
At home, I would be asking my daughter, but I don't remember asking her to translate this for me.
So before June 2017, what did you think you had to do if there was a fire in the tower?
咁假設喺2017年6月之前，如果你嗰座大廈有火燭嘅時候，咁你會點做咧？
因為我住嗰度啊，已經係個時間係好長嘅時間。但係我哋如果有火燭啊，我哋要識我個路，我識我個方向，我哋走㗎。
Because I've been living there for a long, long time, I would know where to go, which direction to take, had there been a fire.
So does that mean that Mrs. Quang's view was that she would have to leave her flat if there was a fire?
係咪話即係如果真係有火燭嘅時候咧，咁你第一件事咧就會離開你個公寓咧？
係㗎。
Yes。
但係我哋嗰度有火燭，曾經有過先個17年嗰年咧有過2次，但係嗰啲救火人員上嚟叫我哋喺屋企入邊度。
There were 2 fires happened in the last 17 years.
Before 佢個17 year 已經有過2次。
There was twice. We had a fire, but we were told by the fire brigade, the firemen, that we should stay in our flat.
Mrs. Quang you told us a few moments ago that you knew where to go. So was your understanding that if there was a fire, you should either stay in your flat or you should leave?
你之前鄺女士，你之前同我哋講話咧，如果你真係有火燭嘅時候，你就知道會去邊一度。但係咁，你會相信呢啲即係救火員留低喺度啊？抑或你會離開咧？
同埋我要睇個情景，因為頭嗰2次啊，佢有煙，但係唔係濃嘅煙，係好朦嘅煙，我能夠睇到對方，我望到所有嘅嘢㗎。 所以我就會留低。
I would have to see the circumstances. In the last times, there were light smokes, and I could see where I could go, so I would stay.
同埋我有個女喺出邊㗎，我有同我女聯絡，所以我知道啊，佢係唔危險㗎，我一樣照喺我自己我住個地方㗎。
So I'll connect with my daughter who's outside, and if there was any danger, I would decide whether I would stay.
Thank you. When we were looking a few moments ago, Mrs. Quang, at your statement, I took you to the paragraph that said you had 2 alarms, and in your English language statement, you described it as a smoke alarm. How did you know that these were smoke alarms in your flat?
你喺你個英文嗰個版本之前，我哋講過話咧，即係。Sorry, which page was that on?
I'm sorry. If we go to page 80, page 3 of the English language statement.
喺第3版嗰度，我哋即係你曾經講過咧，喺第10段嗰度咧就話 the smoke alarm。咁呢一句咧係講一個煙霧器、煙霧火警器。咁你點知嗰個係一個煙霧火警器？點知佢係一個煙霧器？
因為佢哋嚟裝修嘅時候，佢哋有講呢個係個警鐘嚟㗎。
When they did the refurbishment, they told us that this is an alarm.
同埋呢個我喺我個房門出邊嗰個警鐘啦，佢係冇咗電芯，我就靠嗰間裝修個公司度幫我換㗎。
The alarm needs to fit battery. The alarm outside my bedroom run out of battery, so I have to rely on the refurbishment company to refit the battery.
Did anyone tell you it was a smoke alarm?
係咪有人話俾你聽咧？呢個係個煙霧火警鐘咧？
佢冇講我聽話係煙霧火警，因為曾經有一次啊，我煮飯嗰時我唔大意，佢就已經響過一次，所以我知道嗰個係個警鐘。到後來佢冇晒電芯嘅時期啊，佢成日必係咁樣，我見到我唔舒服，我就問呢個 CMO 嗰度啲人啦，佢哋嗰陣時嚟睇我個沖涼房上嗰個司令嗰陣時候啊，我就問嗰個人佢話：如果你有電芯，我可以幫你換，但係我唔知道咩電芯。佢講我聽係9個嘅電芯，所以我就買咗電芯之後啊，就係 Ryden 嗰間公司裝修嘅時候啊，我就靠嗰間公司幫我換上去。
I wasn't told that it was a smoke alarm, but that once when I did some cooking, I set off the alarm. But when it started to beep, I asked the TMO to come and fix it. They told me that they need a battery which is 9 volt. They didn't have the battery then, and they told me that they were the 9 volt battery. So I bought that. Next time when the radon company came to do their fixing, I asked them to fix it in for me, put it in for me.
Did you know if the alarm in the kitchen was battery operated?
你知唔知道喺廚房裏邊嗰個警鐘係？
嗰個我唔識㗎，嗰個我見係有燈咁樣嘅，但係究竟佢有冇響我唔識佢。
That I don't know. All I can see is there's a light on it, and I'm not sure whether it works.
So, aside from the one occasion when someone changed a battery, did you ever have to replace the batteries in that alarm?
除咗有一次有人幫你即係換個電芯之外咧，你有冇換過第二次咧？
冇。
No.
Can we go to page 5 in the English language statement and paragraph 18?
Sorry?
Paragraph 18 is what we're going to look at. If it will assist Mrs. Quang, the English language, the translation version is at IWS 11704. But if I use this in the English statement, in this paragraph, you refer to your front door and you say it was fitted with a mechanism in the middle of the door onto the hinge side, but not long after it stopped working, and you reported it.
喺呢一段裏邊咧，你話咧喺即係裝修嗰段期間咧，佢哋佢哋整咗個新嘅熱水爐啦，咁同埋喺個前門對面嗰度咧，
即係入嗰度。
前門右手邊嗰度咧，嚇，咁佢哋咧，你咧就有一 佢哋咧就喺嗰度門嘅上邊，門嘅中間上邊嚇，就裝咗一個
熱水壺，
唔係裝咗個儀器啦，喺度門嘅中間，喺嗰個門鉸嗰度嘅。咁但係好快脆咧，嗰度就已經唔再即係
壞，
唔再
門壞，個彈弓嗰度嗰等個門彈弓啊。
It was the self-closer.
Well, my question was going to be, did you know what this mechanism in the middle of the door was for?
我哋其實我嘅問題就係問你，你知唔知嗰個咁嘅儀器當時嚟講係攞嚟有咩用嘅咧？
我唔識。
I don't know.
Well, and before, well, do you know what you say it stopped working? Do you know what it was for?
你話即係好快脆嘅就唔再
佢唔安，因為佢個門同個門框唔對啊，佢閂唔到門，鎖唔到門啊。
Because it didn't tally with the door, so it couldn't close the door properly.
After it stopped working, did the door close by itself?
佢冇再喐，即係冇再唔用得之後咧，係咪嗰道門就自己閂嘅咧？
佢唔嗰陣時佢已經壞咗，佢根本佢就歪咗，佢唔入個框啊，佢唔入個門框啊。我就去叫 TMO 嗰度，我落去下低我報佢哋，佢哋落嚟上嚟又拆咗嗰個出嚟，然後個門先閂到，我先鎖到門，我去翻工。
As it didn't tally with the frame, I couldn't close the door, so I report that to TMO. They came and took that off. Then the door could close. That's how I could close the door and go out.
Can I just ask you to go back, just so that we can just clarify, back to page 3 and look at page 11, paragraph 11 on page 3. Forgive me.
我哋睇翻第3版嘅第11段啦。
What you're talking again about your door, and you say the old door did not have springs. The new door had springs, but the springs were not working. The TMO took out the springs. When you're referring to springs, is that the same thing as the mechanism that was in the middle of the door hinge?
喺呢段嚟講咧，你話你舊嗰道門咧就冇呢個咁嘅彈弓嘅，
舊門冇嘅
嚇，但係新嘅門咧就有嗰啲彈弓，但係就即係唔喐嘅，唔好用嘅，壞咗嘅。咁個 TMO 咧就即係拎走咗個你講嗰個呢一個彈弓係咪指你正話講嗰個即係嗰個儀器咧？Yes, that was the one.
And in both these paragraphs, you say that you were told to report it to the company. Did anyone at the TMO tell you the name of the company?
佢話你兩個都話，即係你要即係同 TMO 講去即係報告俾佢聽，但係佢哋有冇話俾你聽邊間公司負責？
佢就係叫我打電話去咁樣講啊。
They just asked me to make a call.
Did they give you a phone number?
佢哋冇俾個電話俾你 ？No， no。
因為佢哋好太過麻煩啦，同埋我個門我能夠鎖到閂到門，我去翻工，所以我唔再要求添。
There was so much bother that I didn't bother at the end. So as long as they took off the spring, I could then close the door. Then I could go to work.
And did you find the door easy to close?
你係咪覺得道門閂得好容易咧？Yes.
If you stepped out of your flat and the door closed behind you, could you open it again without having to use your key?
如果你個道門你出咗門之後，嗰道門閂咗咧，你係咪一定要用鎖匙先可以開翻入去嘅咧？係。Yes.
Did you ever have a problem with drafts coming through your front door?
你嗰度前門嗰度咧，會唔會有漏風嘅咧？
唔知，我都唔係好清楚嗰度。
No, I'm not too sure. I don't think so.
Mr. Chairman, I'm now going to turn to the events of the day, and this may be therefore a convenient time to stop.
Yes, I think it would. Well, Mrs. Quang, we're going to have a break now for some lunch.
我哋而家即係又係咯，要休息下放午餐食午餐。
We'll resume at 2 o'clock.
我哋2點鐘再翻嚟。
And I have to ask you, please don't talk to anyone about your evidence while you're out of the room.
你即係離開呢度堂之後咧，千祈唔好同任何人講關於你嘅證供嘅問題。
All right? If you'd like to go with the usher,
我哋跟翻個大會，
she'll look after you.
佢哋會照顧我哋。
All right?
咁翻
You can leave that there, that's right.
我哋留低你就得。
依家我哋可以去。
係跟佢。
Right. At 2 o'clock then, please. Thank you.